I'm sitting at the Ganga in the upper Himalayas in Uttarakhand, up near Gangotri, where the Ganga originates. You can see the river behind me, below me, and it is eating the particles of lava and various stones as it makes its way downstream to Benares, to Gaya, to all the cities that it reaches until it empties out in the delta just below Calcutta. There's a shloka about how to prepare for treatments called the Dasha-Vidha-Pariksha. The shloka includes 10 factors: Dushyam, Desham, Balam, Kalam, Anala Prakriti, Vaya, Sattva, Satmya, and Āhāra avastha. Āhāra. Āhāra is that which we take into ourselves to nourish and to create into our own tissues. Commonly we call that food. But it's not just any food, and it's simply not just any kind of thing we put into our mouths that is sold as a food product. It is those foods that nourish, that help us to create excellent body strength and a sense of resilience to the environment, which is constantly and potentially able to injure our bodies. This idea of Ahara being real food is so key for building a proper prescription. So after discussing all the other 9 factors, this 10th factor says that you cannot ignore the food that is being given to any patient during a prescription. And in fact, in modern medical hospitals, like the ones where I've worked, the hospital food is atrocious. It actually is frozen and processed and microwaved and is not fresh food. And it's one of the reasons why patients do not heal as fast as they could. In India, many times patients are requested to have their family members bring their own food because they have their own satmya, they have their own sense of what foods they're used to eating, that their biochemical machinery inside their gut and their liver knows how to process. So when a physician is setting up a prescription for Ahara avastha, for that treatment, it will not only include the things to avoid according to the medicines that are being given, such as avoiding super sour foods, which can raise the pitta, or super salty foods, which also raise the pitta and also draw in moisture, or to avoid certain kinds of sweet foods that are processed sugar, or to include certain sweet foods like honey, which have astringent and scraping properties. To avoid and to include are the cautions and the recommendations that many doctors will include in their prescription. And some of the very common ones are to avoid kapha producing substances, such as phlegmy things like soft cheeses, yogurt, milk, bananas, the very mucousy kind of fruits such as mangoes, which are also heating, and foods that are very, very mucousy, like paneer. So most of the dairy foods we've included, but also some of the fleshy, mucus-producing foods. In addition, many times people are suggested not to drink raw water like I would if I were to drink water from the Ganga, but to take it and to boil it so that it's pre-cooked, so that our body can digest it better. Chemists have not figured this out yet. Chemists want to say that food is just food, it's just a bunch of chemistry of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. But the way in which those come together have already been proven by the frontiers of chemistry in the branch called quaternary structure science, meaning the way in which those carbohydrates are suspended in the food that is being eaten and how that is altered when certain processes are done to that food so that that carbohydrate doesn't have exactly the same amount of energy that it can provide to the body. In fact, sometimes it becomes not useful to the body. All of these factors have to be considered when we discuss Ahara, the food element of a prescription. So in the Dasha-Vidha-Pariksha, we have to consider all these 10 factors when setting up a prescription, and that allows us to give a perfectly individualized, personalized prescription to each and every patient. Ahara.